Welcome to Going Down the Line. I'm Steven from Virginia, and that's Chase Gilmer, and we're here to talk about Baylor football.
Let's do it.
Baylor lost to Cincinnati 41 to 20 on Saturday. Another loss in a string of disappointing losses for the Bears. Chase, how are you feeling?
I don't know what I can say at this point that's going to be really anything different than what we have been stating pretty much all season. Um, I mean, well, I guess if there's one thing that I could say is that because we talk about how bad the defense has been all season. Well, now over the span of 2 games, it's now looking like the offense is looking bad as well. I mean, that was probably Sawyer Robertson's worst game efficiently since he became the starter uh, full time last year. Um, Offensive line still can't really block all that well, which surprisingly on I can't remember if it was Pro Football Focus or if it was some other group, but they have Baylor's offensive line rated as the 8th best in college football, and I'm just like, really? Especially after what we saw on Saturday, I doubt that. I did like that they finally started Sean Tompkins at left tackle over Sidney Fugar. With all due respects to him, I think that was needed, but it still obviously was not enough for this offensive line to create the holes the running backs needed. Um, I did think Michael Turner had a pretty decent game, all things considered. But, it felt like the running game was a non-factor. Sawyer Robertson almost was a non-factor the whole game until pretty much the third quarter. Uh, but when you're down 24 to nothing, it's the same thing we've been talking about over and over and over again. It's those really bad starts on both sides of the ball that are just killing this team. And really, it's just like at what point do we just look at this and say, "Hey, this is enough is enough." It's getting tiresome having to talk about this week after week.
Well, and I definitely thought that the offense didn't perform up to snuff. I thought the defense wasn't very good. We were down 17 nothing, then 24 to nothing, then 24 to 6. Um, really didn't take advantage of some opportunities, had more turnovers again. Um, the Bears kind of fought back in this game to make it 27 to 20. And we were texting back and forth, and I was like, is this the moment where they come back? And then Cincinnati went on a long drive to pretty much end that. And then we fumbled on the kickoff to make
Yeah,
matters worse.
and I will say because 14 of those points were on the offense, so I mean it was really a collection of everything. Well, actually, no, 7 of it was on the offense. 7 of it was on that kickoff return there. Cole Wilson just absolutely just got destroyed and caused them to fumble the ball. So 14 of those points weren't all on the defense, but it's still not enough for me to say the defense looked good. I mean, they looked decent in the second half. I'll say that, but you
Well, when Ashton Hawkins fumbled in the first half, trying to do too much up the sideline, the way he put his head down on the sideline and how upset he was, I don't know. It just felt like it was over then, and it was really disappointing. I had a tweet that gained some traction over the weekend of the Baylor fan shaking his head on the sidelines, and that was all of us. That's all of us every weekend, and like they're always down 17 to nothing right out of the gate, and it's just really disappointing. It really is.
Yep, and then that frustration from the fans is now boiling over to the team because at the very end of the game, they were showing Michael Trigg, who was just showing
Mm-hmm.
his frustrations on there. So, and the thing that bothers me the most about this loss is that this Baylor had a players only meeting after their loss to TCU, and this is how they look after that. I mean, obviously, I didn't think they were going to win this game, but I was hoping that for once they would actually show so much more effort in the first half than they have been all season. But I do want to point out one play in particular that I that was pretty much a microcosm of this season, especially on defense. And Steven, I think you know which play I'm talking about. It was that 4th-and-1 play where we were down 27-20. If we would have stopped them, we would have gotten the ball back, had a chance to tie the game. We had the stop, but for some reason that I forgot who it was that had him stopped, but he just like nobody in their right mind on defense decided to help out who it was that had Cincinnati's running back stopped on 4th-and-1. Um, the way he was tackled, he was able to, because he was on the defender's belly and everything, he was able to extend forward and got the first down. And then 2 plays later, Brandon Sorsby has that big run all the way for a touchdown. And that's essentially a microcosm of how bad, especially on defense, this season has been. It's those little plays where um, nobody's helping. It's those lack of effort. It's just all that execution or lack thereof, I should say, that's really, really hurting this team. Um, I, I, I would have to say the blame for that is very much all around. Like it's not just a coaching thing, although I would say a lot of it is on them, but it's on the players as well. You should know better than to give up on a play that hasn't been finished.
Yeah, it was really disappointing, and that was really the turning point because they make that stop, they might get the ball back and go down and tie the game. Instead, they end up losing by
21.
21, and it's really disappointing. And um, there's just pain everywhere, as Jameis Winston says. Um, I'm really frustrated with this team, and I know the team's frustrated too because they certainly wanted to be better, and that's why they're holding players only meetings, and that's why Trigg and Hawkins are so upset on the sidelines, and it's just frustrating. And I know the players are trying, and I just feel like maybe the coaches aren't setting them up for success, and we're kind of in a place where things have to change, and if things don't change, this is going to be a 4-8 or a 5-7 football team, and they've had so many opportunities, to turn this season around, and they just haven't. And
Right.
and now they're staring a season that is opposite of what they were supposed to be, and nobody expected this to be a 4-8 or a 5-7 football team in the beginning of the year. And
I mean, we predicted that they were going to go 10-2.
yeah,
So,
we
and
both
that's
had
not
them
happening
10-2.
anymore.
And we're not the only ones, though. It wasn't
Yeah.
like you and I were just homers. I mean, Phil Steele had them in the Big 12 title game. So, like, it's really frustrating. Really frustrating. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is a light crowd at homecoming.
Yeah. Well, if for what I will certainly be there. I already know how bad the attendance is going to be at for that game. I know we talked a little bit about this last week about the future of this program and that Dave Aranda is coaching his tenure at Baylor should be questioned at this point. I do want to point out one thing because this someone from Texas football posted this article after Baylor's loss to Cincinnati, and
Are you
there
talking
were
about the Mike Craven article?
yes, that one. He mentioned there was one particular section in particular that I want to point out, and it says this. And I'm reading this on my phone, by the way, because I screenshotted it. Baylor entered week 9 with the 118th scoring defense in the country, allowing 31.4 points per game. Since the start of the 2022 season, the Bears have allowed 28.9 points per game and haven't had a season where they've allowed fewer than 26.7 points per game. They're 112th in rushing defense, 106th in total defense, 123rd in sacks, which keep in mind, they haven't recorded a single sack in over a month. 111th in tackles for loss and 89th in turnovers forced. opponents convert 41.28% of their third downs, which for Baylor defense is 90th in the country, and are 100th in opponent red zone touchdown percentage. Now, this part wasn't part of the article, but one thing I do want to point out is that Baylor's defense is the second worst defense among Power Four schools as far as F plus is concerned. The only team that's worse than them is Oklahoma State. I don't need to emphasize how incredibly bad those like all those things I pointed out is, but one thing is for certain, how do you expect to retain Dave Aranda after a season like this and expect that those numbers that I just listed are going to be any better? It's it it's the fact that not only has this probably been our worst defense than the 2023 one was, it's the fact that, ever since we were a top 10 defense in 2021, and yes, I'm bringing this up again, it's gone downhill from there. Um, Obviously, we don't have the same talent that we had with Petrie and Bernard, but this is a development issue. This is a strength and conditioning issue. You can't tell me, you can't say with a straight face, seeing those numbers right there, and expect me to feel very intrigued that Aranda's staying at this point.
Well, and this is the second season by my count where coming into the season we had high expectations and we've been let down thoroughly. In 2022, we were picked to win the conference after 2021, and we finished 6-7. And I don't know if there's too much complacency involved. I don't know what's going on, but these two were extremely disappointing seasons. And then sandwiched in between those, you have a 3-9 season and an 8-4 season that almost went off the rails. I mean, keeping in mind that the last 6 games of that season were the easiest games on the schedule of that season. Had they had a harder schedule, it could have we could have been talking about this already. But yeah, it's extremely disappointing, and I said this last week, but after they keep playing the way they do, it's hard to see them winning more games if they keep playing the way they're playing. And they're -10 in the Big 12 and during Big 12 play in turnover differential. -10. Like, that's awful. They don't force any
turnovers. Yeah.
They don't force any turnovers, and they're constantly turning the ball over themselves. They had 2 more big ones this week. No interceptions, but the Ashton Hawkins fumble and the Cole Wilson fumble, and they also go for it on 4th down quite a bit, and which means they don't always get it. Their 3rd down conversion percentage is horrible because they know they're going for it on 4th down. I mean, there's a lot wrong with this football team, and it's very frustrating to watch.
I would like to point out that at least for the 2022 season, the team was at least competitive for the first 9 games, and then things just went downhill from there. So it feels like, compared to, 2023 and 25, I mean, it feels like 21 and then like the first 9 games of 22 was light years ago. Yeah, it's really just like I said, it's the effort. I don't know if this team's being complacent or not, but it's just like there's no communication and this team's just look a little lackadaisical. A big proponent of that is there was one 4th down play in particular on Saturday where Sawyer Robinson throws to Caden Knighton, who wasn't even looking. And because of that, it was ruled incomplete to the sideline. And Cincinnati gets the ball in our territory, not deep, but still within, striking distance from there. It's just like, it's those little things with execution, with effort, with, just really just any fundamental football that's just what can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Law right there.
Right. And it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. there doesn't seem to be any turnaround. And like, it's not for lack of effort. The players certainly seem to be trying. The players certainly seem to want to play better than they are, but it's just not getting any better. And you've got a big game on homecoming against UCF coming up, and UCF is probably the most winnable game left on the schedule. And um, that's tough because the UCF players have been really playing hard for their coach Scott Frost, and I know they're not a very particularly good football team, but they did beat the crap out of UNC and another Power Four opponent. Um, it's just I have a hard time seeing them win any more games. I feel like even this UCF game, it's if they win, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that too. At this point, I don't know if we'll even beat UCF. Um, I mean, I consider them probably the second worst team in the Big 12, and that's no offense to them, but like the things that I've seen them go through this year, I'm just like, man, this team is just not good. But now Baylor's at a point where they're just struggling to even, be competitive. They're as we have said multiple times this season, they're not playing complementary football, except last week they essentially did. It's not the good kind. It's terrible defense, terrible offense, and that's not a recipe for success. Um, I mean, this game on Saturday might be the last time Baylor even wins a football game. So, given the expectations that we have given this team this season, one more loss means we have a worse record than we did last year, and that is unacceptable.
Right. It certainly is. And this team we had high hopes for this team. We had high expectations for this team. And it's really disappointing that it's boiled down to this. It really is.
Yeah.
Um, I just can't express my disappointment anymore, and hopefully the boys turn it around and come out with their hair on fire this week. It'd be great to see. But expectations and vibes are very low.
Yeah, and I'm looking to see how Sawyer Robertson bounces back from, I guess, yeah, back to back not good games from him. Um, I think being back in Waco is probably going to help him a little bit, but really, it's just like you're not going to do much when your defense is like it's not going to matter much when your defense is just not good.
Right. And I've said this so many times this year, but when you can't run the football and you can't stop the run, not a lot of good things are going to happen. And I know Baylor ran the football better, but I wonder almost if they've got to shut Bryson Washington down for a game or two because he just does not look right. And Michael Turner has played much better lately, and just really frustrating because we really had high hopes for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I'd make the argument that maybe Bryson Washington should be shut down for the rest of the season. I mean, at this point, what good is it going to be just continuing to let him go out there and continuing to take hit after hit after hit, and those injuries get worse than they already are. So yeah, I'd say shut him down for the rest of the season. I mean, you only have 4 games left, so why does it matter?
I got to be honest, I'm not there yet, but like if they get the sixth or seventh loss, I think I will be there.
That's fair point. I'm just saying, like, I'd rather not cause any more harm to
Yeah, and
him if
Bryson's
it's
been a
not
real
necessary.
warrior this year.
Yeah.
Bryson's been a real warrior this year. He's taken the ball whenever they've asked him to, and it's certainly disappointing.
Yeah. Well, plus
Um,
Michael Turner's really stepped up over the past few games,
mhm.
so
Yeah,
that's
he's
also
played really
why.
well. He's played really well. Well, do we have any more UCF thoughts before we go to picks of the week?
I mean, I guess really the only thing I have left is it's going to be Ghost Town and Homecoming this Saturday. It's very unfortunate, and we've obviously talked about how bad the attendance is, but at this point, I can't really begrudge anyone who doesn't want to go. It's just this version of Baylor football just isn't fun. Um, And until things change, which we all know and everyone knows what needs to change, really no one's gonna show up to this kind of football team, you know? So yeah, it's
Well, and
disappointing it's gotten to this point, but it's expected.
yeah, and I won't get on this soapbox too long this time, but like at some point, the administration has to listen to the paying customer, the people that support and appreciate this football team. And those customers are telling you they don't want this product. They're telling you they don't want to come watch this team. And Baylor, makes a lot of money off the attendance, and they're not making the money right now. And like at some level, it has to be about what the fans want, because the fans don't want this. So I'm not going into that whole soapbox again, but
Yeah.
at some level, you got to listen to your paying customer. And when the product isn't good enough for them, then it shouldn't be good enough for you either.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
All right, it's time for some picks of the week.
All right. So first game we're going to be picking is, and this is so weird to say, number 9 Vanderbilt at number 20 Texas. Oh my God, it's so weird seeing a top 10 Vandy team and at Texas, no less. It's a noon kickoff on ABC at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin. Texas is surprisingly a 1.5 point favorite in this one, which says that Vandy would be favored by half a point in a neutral site. Steven, who do you have winning this game?
Give me the Commodores. Give me Vanderbilt.
I'm going with Texas in this one. With all due respect to the fighting Diego Pavias, the only team really that they've played that hasn't looked like soft was Alabama. And well, we all know how that game turned out for them. And I'm not saying they're going to get blown out. I think this is going to be a close game, but I'm taking Texas to win this by 3.
Okay.
All right, next game is West Virginia at number 22 Houston. That is also a noon kickoff time on Fox Sports 1. Houston's favored by 14.5 points. And I said this to you before we started recording. I'm still disappointed that Houston got Willie Fritz, because I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. He was going to get this program turned around like that. But credit to the Cougars. They got aggressive and they found the right coach. So with that being said, I think Houston's going to blow out West Virginia. West Virginia is just not a good team this year. Houston is light years ahead, at least for this season. So I'm going to go Houston wins by 21.
Give me the Cougars too. Give me Houston.
All right. Next game we are going to pick is it's number 23 USC at Nebraska. That is a 7:30 kickoff time on NBC. Kind of weird that that's not Notre Dame right there, but I digress. USC is favored by 6.5 points. Steven, who do you have?
Give me the upset. Give me Nebraska.
Yeah,
Nebraska's been up for this game ever since the schedule came out. Give me Nebraska.
yeah, I'm picking Nebraska in this one too, and for Matt Rule to finally win a game against a ranked team.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say Nebraska wins by a field goal.
All right.
All right, next game we have is number 17 at number 24 Utah. College game day is finally going to a Big 12 school. Thank God. It is a 10:15 p.m. kickoff time on ESPN. Utah is favored by 7.5 points, which I honestly think is too many points. I'm picking Cincinnati in this one. I mean, Utah already has 2 losses for a reason. Cincinnati's fighting on all cylinders after their season opening loss to Nebraska. They're essentially undefeated. Give me the Bearcats to win by a touchdown.
Give me Cincinnati as well. Cincinnati's on fire. They've I know it's at Utah, but Cincinnati has shown that they can win big games. Give me Cincinnati.
All right. So last game that we're gonna pick is UCF at your Baylor Bears. That is a noon kickoff time on ESPNU. Baylor is currently favored by 4.5 points. I'd probably say that's too many points in my opinion. Steven, do you have Baylor winning?
No. I am not picking Baylor again until I see marketable improvement. Give me the UCF Knights. I know this is supposed to be the most winnable game left on Baylor's schedule, but give me UCF.
I don't blame you in all honesty. But like I said earlier, there's a I personally think UCF is the second worst team in the Big 12. So this is a game that Baylor has to win. And I think given the coming off of two really bad losses on the road, I don't think it's going to be a blowout per se, but I think Baylor's going to win this game. I'm going to say it's going to be a 34-31 contest score. And I think at that point, even if we do win, this might be the beginning of the end of Aranda's tenure.
Well, and if they don't win, the bye week is after this, and I'd shudder to think about Dave Aranda's job security if he lost this game.
Well,
Um,
see, I mean, I feel like even if we win, they might end up firing him because with the bye week coming up, that's really the last time you could potentially make a coaching change until the end of the season. I mean, Florida ended up doing that with Billy Napier 2 weeks ago, and
yeah,
obviously, I know it's a little different to talk about Florida. Like I'm comparing apples to oranges, no pun intended with it being Florida, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like it makes sense to do that even with a win. To do it during a bye week
yeah.
because
I
it's
just
not.
think if they win, they've given him so many chances and so many excuses. If they win, they're going to let him try and finish the season. So if they lose, like I'm predicting, that's the only way I see them doing anything about it. And or UCF. Give me UCF 31-27. They go up on Baylor early, and Baylor mounts a comeback, but it's not enough.
All right, and I do respect that. I really think this could go either way at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's our show for the week. Thanks, guys. Sick 'em Bears. Later,
All
guys.
right, Sick 'em Bears. Happy
Sick 'em
homecoming.
Bears.